Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Pyro's Projects. I'm actually going to not be working on the stove, maybe a little bit later today, I don't know, we'll see. I actually have decided to try and put myself in a, what do you call it? More or less like a gantry crane system. I got a couple pieces of unistrut, some unistrut trolleys, and a 110 volt electric hoist that I'm going to install along the rafters here to help pick up this heavy pieces of stove that I'm building. The very base portion with the new fire rack in it, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about 200 pounds. This middle section that I'm in the process of building is probably going to be a little over 300 pounds. And there's no way I can pick that up on my own. And I'm not asking people to drive an hour plus out to where I live to try and help. So I'm going to use some unistrut and a little electric hoist to help pick stuff up and move it and whatnot. So today I'm going to go ahead and start installing all of that. Plus I have to run at least 2 new electrical outlets to be able to plug this electric hoist into. So I'm going to get started and I'll update you as I go and show you what I've got going on. Oh, you know what? Before I get started, let me show you what I've got. Let me flip the... All right. I've got 2 10-foot pieces of unistrut, plus this little electric hoist right here. This guy is, I think it's 660 pounds single line and 1,320 pounds dual line. And you got the little trolley rollers up here that'll fit inside of these unistrut. And then, hold on one second. These are the construction lag bolts I'm going to use to put it up into the rafters. These holes are, or the heads are wider than the holes in the unistrut. They're about 4 inches long, going up into a 2x10. So that should hopefully be more than enough to hold this together. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and I'll catch you guys up here in a little bit. All right, let's get everybody caught up again. So what I did is I went ahead and mounted this first piece of unistrut on the lower section of my loft. And I got the hoist sitting up here right now. What I did is I started it flush at the back end because this loft is 8 foot deep. And I left the other 2 feet sticking out over here. That way I can run the hoist all the way out to the end and maybe pick something up out of the bed of the pickup truck or whatever. And then I took the second set or piece of unistrut, and I've got it mounted at a slight angle. Trying to block that light. Running at an angle over here in this back corner. This is another section of the loft that's a little bit higher. It's about, say about 12 inches, a foot, or I don't know, 12, 15 inches lower than the original portion of the loft. So as you can see, I got the hoist right here. I left this back end open so that I can pull it out and stick it into this one, so that eventually when I go to stack this stove in the corner, I've got the mechanical help I'm going to need. So with all that being said, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to see if I can figure out if I would be better off doing a single line pull or using the snatch block to do a double line pull. I'd like to do the double line pull because that'll slow the movements down a little bit, but I don't know yet. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to run my electric today because I didn't realize I'm all out of Romex to run the outlet. So right now, for the time being, I'm just going to use an extension cord so that I can get to work, and we'll go from there. Being that I've already got this all put up, I might go ahead and continue on cleaning these rims, and we'll get you caught up with that in a little while. Oh, I wanted to give you a quick update on the cleaning pads I was using, or the cleaning discs. I did some internet sleuthing and found these guys on Amazon. Got a total of 10 of these. I want to say it was like $30, and then they had a 20% coupon or something of that nature. So I went ahead and bought 10 of them. It should get me through the rest of this project, but I don't know yet. So, also found, I don't know what I did with that little box. I don't know what I did with the little box. Oh, there it is. Also found myself some plasma cutter consumables. All the little tips and ceramic cups and whatnot. I figured it wouldn't be a bad idea to have some consumables for the plasma cutter. So, yeah. All right, I'm going to put the camera on pause. Well, maybe actually I'll set it up on time lapse for a little while and do some cleaning on these rims. All right, update time again. I've got my small rim that's going to be the fire door. Is all cleaned up and ready. This one's mostly done. I still got to do a couple of spots along the edges here. And I'm probably about halfway done with this rim. But I have managed to kill another one of these discs. I'll put it on pause. I'm going to take this disc off and I'll show you the thickness difference. Okay. So this is what they're like, brand new. And this is slightly done. I mean, you can tell the difference and how thick that is. That's why I was trying to find somewhere less expensive to get these, because I'm killing these discs pretty darn quick. But it's the fastest thing I've seen to take this paint off these rims. So I'm going to let the grinder cool down for a few minutes, get myself a drink of water, put a new disc on, and I'll get back to it. We'll catch up with you guys in a little while. All right, quick update. Well, as quick as it can be, I guess. I've got all of my rims all nice and cleaned up, ready to start assembly. What I'm going to do is I've got everything, all of these, the holes for the valve stems, got them lined up in a straight line just because. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start tacking these seams together. I'll probably do like 1-inch stitch welds or something. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I'm only going to go about halfway around, since I'm going to be cutting out. Well, let's get up here higher. Be cutting out a big chunk of this top piece to put the front firebox door on. So I think I'm only going to weld like maybe halfway around, and then come back to this section up here and try and figure out how I'm going to mate that rim to this very uneven surface. It's going to be an interesting challenge, but I think this is part of my opinion, this is half the fun of actually building projects like this, is figuring everything out and getting it to work. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start getting these welded together and get everything arranged so that I can start figuring out what portion of this I've got to cut out to make that rim fit. So let me get everything welded together, and I'll see what I can do to get this little rim up over here somewhere. I'm going to try and suspend it with the hoist. That way I can just leave it up in the air, roll it out of my way, work, bring it back, set it down, and see how my fit's doing. So we'll get up to that point, and I'll get you caught up again in a little bit. All right, everybody. I got my rims welded. I actually went ahead where I started. I went all the way around to the other side. That way, once I get this firebox door put on, I'm not having to fight with that to weld the backside. So I will only have to deal with the part up here. So I've got the rim sitting up there with basically where it's going to live. You can see I'm actually using the hoist that I did earlier to get the rim basically where it's going to end up living or residing. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. This is where it's going to end up being when I'm done. So now is the fun part of trying to cut this as well as these to get this to fit down in there. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off. This is going to take some serious thought process and taking a little bit of metal out at a time to get it right. So we'll go ahead and mark a few things, and I'll start cutting out. I might start with just cutting out this center piece here and see where that, just to kind of get an idea of where things are going to sit. So we'll get started on that, and I'll update you in a little while. Hey, everybody. I'm going to do another quick little update, show you what I've got going on here. I just spent a good little while cutting the top rim to fit the body of the stove. Not the top rim, the fire door rim. So I'm going to switch the camera around. I'll show you what I got going on. All right. So I've been spending some time slowly cutting this rim out so that it'll fit down kind of snug in there. Did that on both sides. I've got a couple of gaps that I need to deal with yet. I think what I'm going to do is I'll switch the grinder over from the cleanup discs to an actual grinding disc and fine tune it from here since I've got it so close. But I do think I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug for today. It's got a lot later than I was anticipating it getting. And I have a couple of things I need to do this evening. So just going to go ahead and pull the plug here today. And we'll get back to it again, I guess, next weekend. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like, subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend.